It's going to be a quick segment on basically if you're thread mounting the new Morimoto D2S projector, why ultimately it's set up incorrectly. Now it might be fine for models that come with a dual filament bulb from the factory, and they have a lot of adjuster built into the light design. But if you have a separate low and high beam, you're certainly going to have this issue where your low beam is not going to match up with your high beam, assuming you're thread mounting it. One way to correct it is you can shim, so point the projector upward. Basically, the location of this projector when measured on that cinder block wall is about one cinder block below that electrical cord in the middle. But you can see actually the projector is pointing downward. We've known about this for a while, but it's exaggerated. And we just set up this mount for our lux testing, and it puts the projector in the same spot. The projector is directly threaded onto this bracket, which is a perfect universal square bracket. It means the projector is sitting perfectly flat. That's why I started the video off. But you can see at about 32 feet how low that cutoff is. We're already 2 feet lower than where it should be in the distance that magnifies. So at about 60 feet, let's say 60, 75 feet, you're going to be hitting the ground. So you see a lot of people on Headlight Junkies or the forums or Facebook saying that they installed their setup, but they ran out of adjustment and their lights are pretty much hitting the ground. And it essentially is a design. It's by design. I don't want to say it's an error in the manufacturing because obviously they set this projector up to be a certain way. But if you're thread mounting it, which essentially what it's designed to do, you're not going to have the proper setup. And you can see how nice and level that projector is. So for all the thread mounters, whether you do it yourself or pro, this is something that you have to keep in mind. Sometimes the stock adjuster will not be enough on a dual filament setup to get the beam where it needs to be. And if you have a separate low and high beam, it's certainly never going to be proper unless you shim it, because you want your low beam to match up with your high beam. Otherwise, when you adjust the low beam, the new projector setup, your high beam is going to be way up in the trees and it's going to be essentially useless. So just something to think about. You guys can use this video for reference when people have issues, but that's the truth. The shield is mounted a little bit off center. It's slightly higher than the center point of the projector, and this essentially flips and mirrors, and essentially the cutoff is actually lower than where it should be. All right. If you guys have any questions, email us. It's info@lightwerkz.net. I'd be happy to help you out.